Hello, hello, beautiful people. So lovely to be here with you today. Today, we are going to look at a little breathing exercise. Whew. Yesterday in the video, or a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, I was talking about doing various breathing exercises to really help open up our sexual energy and support our energy body. So I realized, like, well, hey, why don't I just demonstrate that and guide us through a lovely breathing exercise. There's some Kriya yoga is actually what we're going to learn today. This has been wonderfully profound for me and really changed my whole life, changed my whole experience. In talking a little bit about our energy body, if you're familiar with this, everything is made of energy. Everything is frequency and vibration, and that includes our energy body. We have this physical body. This is a dense, gross, they say, not gross like disgusting, but gross, firm, solid experience of our energy body. It expresses in this dense form. But as we know from science and physics, when we get right down to it into a microscope, there's actually total space. There's very little matter. There's actually, most of us is space. Most of our experience is space. And everything is just vibrating at different levels, different frequencies. And the lower the frequency, the more solid something feels to us, but it's actually not. So given that we're all this space and all this energy and all this vibration and frequency, we can really have a lot of control over our experience when we start playing with our energy body and our body in that way, with that understanding that we are frequency and vibration. And breath work and visualization and mantra, which is sound and vibration, really can alter our experience and help to open up some of the density that we've been experiencing. Because in our energy bodies, we have our experience of emotions and stress and fear and trauma and experiences, life experiences we've taken in, can get stuck and trapped in our energy body. It's just because it's such a dense experience. It's a lower vibration, and when we take on too much of this fear and stress and anxiety, it just really gets kind of stuck in our energy body, because we've not been trained and taught, most of us here in the Western society, how to work with breath and mantra and visualization to open up our energy channels. We've, in other societies and cultures, working with the energy body is just a very natural way to go about a life. I'm not going to say specific culture. I know, like in Indian traditions, Hindu traditions, it's just very natural to learn breath work, from I don't know what age, but it's just a natural kind of part of the day, because they understand how food works, nutrition, like different foods have different frequencies and different qualities that affect our bodies very in various ways. So, other cultures have kind of an understanding of some of these things. We have different understandings of other things. So, each culture has its own kind of, focus and things that it puts value on. So we're just kind of over here a little new in the West to playing with our breath work and our energy body, and understanding how all that really informs our lived experience and really informs our body. So our body, again, is just a dense, gross expression of our energetic body, of our emotional body, of our mental body. Our body is a creation of all of these other aspects or elements of ourselves. We have many different bodies. We have the astral body as well. There's I actually don't know all of the different bodies, but I know, the general physical body, mental body, emotional body, astral body, energetic body. So it's kind of like layers, but it all works together and it all creates our experience. So utilizing breath work, again, mantra, visualization, energy healing, nutrition, all of this has a big part to play in how we experience the world. And the more conscious we get about all of this, and the more we consciously start playing with these different modalities and tools, the more control we have over our experience. It's just really that simple. And from my own experience, these teachings and techniques have been amazingly profound, because I came in with a lot of fear, trauma, stress, sadness, emotional imbalance. I had a history of, just a lot of emotional challenges, mental stuff. And just because my energy was all, I hadn't been taught how to move it through and not attached to my emotions, not attached to my thoughts. I thought they were very real, and we get addicted to the chemicals that these emotions and thoughts create in our bodies. We actually get addicted to these things, so we perpetuate them unconsciously, and we seek things out to perpetuate these experiences, these emotional experiences, these mental experiences, because it's a chemical experience that our body gets used to and craves more of when it's not there, which is part of why we are stuck on repeat with so many of our patterns unconsciously. We're like, why can't we get out of this? Actually, our body's addicted to it. We don't even recognize that. But this is all kind of what we learn as we go along on this path. So I was really stuck in a lot of things, and a lot of victim consciousness. I felt like the world was out to get me. I could never get, a break. Things were always challenging. I was just, really, really down on the world and down on myself. And if only my life had been different, if only things had been different, if only blah, blah, blah. And, just really stuck in victim mentality and victim consciousness, which I know, a lot of us can be. If the government wasn't doing this, if politics weren't doing this, if my family had been this way, if my parents had been this way, if only my body looked different, if only my partner was different, if only this experience was different, if I had more money, if I had blah, 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 if this, that, or the other. It's all these external things that we look to or kind of blame for our own experience. And ultimately we have absolute control over all of that. When we start to really understand that and bring a lot more consciousness to our experience and understand the truth of how the universe works, we get to create our own reality. But part of the importance of that, we don't just get to jump to that point, though. Unfortunately, we really are mired in a lot of these energies that we've been rocking out for, some of it since childhood. We picked up a lot of this stuff, this unconscious patterning from very young, and that's just what it is. So now, utilizing these practices, utilizing these techniques, utilizing understanding, getting into teachings. My 12-week program really goes into a lot of this, like getting down underneath those patterns and clearing them out. And so we're going to learn about breath work today and how to start getting in there and opening all of this up. And then when we get the freedom from those ingrained patterns and tensions and stresses of body, mind, and spirit, we start to be able to breathe, and we start experiencing our world very differently. And we start to be like, oh, maybe everything isn't out to get me. Maybe, I can have a very different experience of myself. We start to come into more self-love, more gratitude, more peace, more serenity when we're not controlled by these unconscious patterns. We're just kind of, So my hope for us here today is that we can start getting into this and open it up a little bit more for ourselves, get some breathing room, be able to step back from it and get a little bit a little more perspective when we're kind of locked into it too. It's hard to see beyond that lived experience, that tension, that stress, that fear, that, those heavy emotions that a lot of us are dealing with. So I think that's a good kind of general outline right there. So we're going to start where I like to start. There's a bunch of different ways in. There's different traditions that focus on different techniques, avenues, experiences, expressions, beliefs, etc. For me, my big again, with the energy body, that's where I have found the most relief and clearing and results, on my spiritual path. It's way beyond just reading a book or doing some affirmations. It's like really getting in there and playing with that energy, changing the actual energy, changing our frequency, changing our vibration, clearing it out. Because as I talked about yesterday or 2 days ago in the video, that lower density vibration, which is what a lot of that stress, fear, anxiety is, when we're vibrating at that level, we are attracting other things at that level, and we gravitate towards other things like attracts like. If we're vibing at a kind of lower vibration, it's very comfortable for us to be around other experiences, people, relationships, jobs that are supporting that vibration, so in order to move out of those recurring themes, those ongoing experiences that are only supporting that lower vibration, we need to clear that out and change the vibration. So then we start attracting in and gravitating towards and magnetizing a different vibration that supports where we actually want to be. So this is where we get to create our own reality, because we get to choose. We can stay in this unconscious patterning and not do anything about it, and we will continue to have the same experience that we've always had. I mean, great, that's our decision. That's our free will. Or we can recognize, like, actually, I think I want to have a different experience, and what do I need to do to move towards that? And this is what we do. We work with our breath. We work with mantra. We work with the energy body. We start being conscious of where we're unconscious. We start bringing this up to our consciousness and go, oh, okay, actually, I can choose differently, because we really do. It really is that simple. I'm not saying it's easy, very, very simple. We get to make different decisions. And once we start doing that, I mean, again, I am saying it's not always easy. We've been ingrained in these belief systems, in these patterns, in these energies for some of it really since childhood. And so choosing a different way isn't so easy. If it was, we'd all be enlightened, right? So it's a concerted effort, and it's a repeating of these patterns. And this is why when we start a breathwork practice, we start a meditation practice, we need to do it every day. I'm not kidding. I mean, if we want the results and we want to get where we're going, we need to, as much time, effort, and energy as we've put into these lower vibe frequencies and patterns and emotions, that's a lifetime. So to think that we can sit down and do a 5-minute meditation every once in a while and have some really big, profound results, I wish I could say, like, yeah, that works, but it really doesn't. And again, coming back to my 12-week program, this is why 12 weeks, we get into this groove. We change our patterns. We start, like, diving in. Where am I unconscious? What are these patterns I've been creating? How can I undo them now? And 12 weeks I've found is a really good amount of time to do a daily practice, really start working with these energies, really start becoming very conscious. Each week we focus on a different area of our experience, a different pattern, a different experience of our life, because there's relationships, there's career, there's nutrition, there's all these different things, there's thought patterns, these, like, self-worth, there's these things that we tell ourselves, we need to take some time to dive into that. It's not just a one and done thing. So this daily concerted effort in these practices for an extended period of time, the 12 weeks, I found is a really great amount of time to get it in there and get, a good practice and a good routine and a good understanding going on, in a good chunk of time to be like, okay, to help you really reorient and to have a great solid foundation from which to move forward. So yes, daily practice, when we look at this breath work, I highly recommend, committing to doing this 10 minutes a day. It's an excellent start. And you're going to bump up against all of the the reasons, the screen goes dark. All of the reasons why your mind thinks you need to, oh, I just dropped my little stone that I'm working with, I'm playing with. Your mind wants to tell you all these reasons why this isn't working, why it's time to get up, why you want to get back to your old patterns, why it's too hard to sit still for 10 minutes. Oh my gosh, I'm not doing this right. This isn't working, blah, blah, blah. That's the ego. That's the mind wanting to, that's the old patterns. They don't want to go. They're really set in their ways and they're quite comfortable in you. And, you know, it can be uncomfortable to break patterns and to, you know, I think of like a train that's just like, the tracks are laid. It's been going on that same path for like how long? And that's the paths in our brain. It is the actual pathways, these neural pathways. They're set, they're grooved, they're hardwired in there, and they're used to going a different way. When we try to stop, interrupt that pattern and create new tracks, it's still going to want to go over there. It's going to take a concerted effort and practice and devotion and dedication to living life differently and to having new experiences, to having more love, more self-worth, more freedom, more ease, more liberation. Because that's what it really truly is. It's freedom and liberation from those old patterns, those old belief systems, those old thought patterns that are not serving. They are not serving freedom and liberation, but it takes effort to get the train to go a different direction. You know, it truly does. So buckle up, we're in for a ride. Like, let's do this. And I can tell you from my own experience what's on the other side. And what starts to arrive very quickly, like really freaking quickly, is freedom, ease, liberation, peace, serenity, a new way of being, you know. It's an ongoing path. It's an ongoing journey, and it continues to open up. But things, because we're so dense and we're so into our thing, our patterns, and we've been so locked in. Because of that, the good news, once we start putting the smallest bit of effort into something different, it's just like, it opens up. It really does. And we can have some pretty profound experiences and results kind of right away, just because it's so used to this thing, and something a little bit different can be like, wow. And then that's amazing, because that really starts to fuel your understanding of what's happening and why you would want to continue on this path and keep moving forward, because of the new experiences that start to arise for you. It really shows you what's possible. And that's bugging me. It really shows you what's possible. You get an idea of it pretty quickly, and you start to have an opening in your experience, and you tend to want more of that. You're like, wow, okay, now I get it. I want to keep going in this, and how can I open up even more? So, yeah, that's been my experience anyway, and I've seen it happen with many people, so I feel like I can speak to that pretty confidently. The spiritual path is not a new one. We are not pioneers here. There's, you know, many people for thousands of years have been on this path and understand how it works. So there's kind of some 5 Stages of the Soul is a great book to really show you what the spiritual journey is all about, and, you know, when you get that calling and what happens when you start going on that path, and you hear the call and you follow it. You follow it. So if you're here right now, you've heard the call, and now you're ready to start following it, you know, and there's something in you that's ready to start doing this. Or maybe you've been doing this for a while. I don't know where you're at on your path, but if you're here, something's speaking to you. So yay for that. So it's an amazing journey. You know, it really is. It really is. I get very excited talking about this, as you can tell. Okay, so I'm feeling like we got the why in there, you know, why to open it all up. And again, I do want to highlight also that when we start really opening up our energy body, our our physical experience changes drastically, or can. It starts opening up. A dis-ease in the body, disease and dysfunction in the body is a blockage of energy. It's a stuck, stagnant energy. It's these old patterns that show up in our physical experience. Remember, I was talking about the different layers. The physical is kind of the last to express. So, and we can be having these issues or patterns or experiences, challenges in our emotional body, but if we don't address them and we don't, move them through and find ways to work with those energies in a healthy way, it starts to show up in our physical body. And it usually starts kind of small. We get some warning signs. We get some like, hey, something's not quite right here, but we keep going on with it anyway. And this can happen with our food, with things that we're nutrition, stuff that we're doing, or any kind of like really stressful, maybe a work situation or a relationship pattern or something that's just like, we know something's not going well here, but we just keep ignoring it. We keep moving around it, or we don't understand that the level to which it's causing us dis-ease and discomfort in our body. And then it eventually starts to manifest as a bigger experience and says, hey, take care of me. This isn't going to work. It isn't going to work. So, and there's kind of a process of learning to listen to ourselves and learning to, this is again, getting very conscious of our patterns and our experiences, our triggers, when we're defensive, when we've got, emotionally like upset, triggered, when we notice that, and we can start, playing with that energy in a whole new way and start like, okay, making decisions based on our triggers. When we start to get to know them and our consciousness is elevated, and we start to know ourselves better, we know those patterns, we know those triggers. So when they show up, we're like, okay, I see you, and I'm going to choose a different way, which again takes a lot of practice and awareness, because the patterns are so, if we're in traffic and it's stressful, or somebody's not driving the way we want, and we're just angry, we're feeling very self-righteous in it, and like flipping people off, and like, right, that's a pattern. That's just a thing that arises. And to get conscious of that and to make a decision like, I don't want to be like that because it doesn't feel good. And here's again, that anger and stress and tension, the way it will express itself, the inflammation that it causes in the body, that is how it causes diseases. And that's how it manifests. The emotional, mental body manifests in the physical body, because constant stress and tension and anger like that, it inflames the body. That's just the chemical experience of it, and that's just real. And then we're having issues where we can hold a lot in our liver disease. That's emotional imbalance in a really big way. Heart issues, heart attacks, etc. So when we start to see the patterns, get very aware of them, which again is what this 12-week program does for us, really helps us to get into those patterns and get conscious of them. Because if we're not conscious of them, we're not aware, how can we work with them, right? So we need to take some time, sit with ourselves, do some reflection, go into some writing, get into there, like, what is going on here? What's going on? Because I'm tired of these patterns running my life. I'm tired of being unconscious. I'm tired of being out of control. And that's why it's called, total life transformation and empowerment. I think empowered masculine, but that's the empowerment, when we take control back from these patterns and these unconscious behaviors and routines that are running our life. They really are, until we take control of them. So again, once we are aware of these patterns, then we can make the choice to do something different. And with this program, it gets into the different tools. It's not just about what are the patterns. We need to know how to break free from them. How do we move through? So there's many different tools and techniques that we'll learn, and practices and things to help us break through and change, and take control back from our unconscious selves, take control back and change our lives and create the lives that we want. We get to decide. It's amazing. So Yeah, I thought it was important to touch on the way that this manifests in the body. And again, coming into context here, because we're talking about sacred sexuality, that's the whole framework of what we're doing here. We're kind of our in, right? How we're coming into this. We're starting at the root chakra. The root chakra is where we hold our sexual energy, the root and the sacral chakra. I've been taught sacral chakra, but I've heard other teachings, other systems that talk about the sexual energy is a lot in the root chakra. So root, sacral. Sacral is the chakra right above the root. We have 7 main centers, main energy centers. And when I say chakra, that's what I mean is chakra. I've heard it pronounced different ways too. So they're energy centers in our bodies. So there's 7 main ones. There's many more, but just to keep it simple, and what most people, most systems, different systems work with different energy centers, but this one pretty common to work with these 7, and they move along our central channel, which is our spine. There's inside this spinal column is an energy channel, Sushumna, technical term, Sushumna nadi. Nadis are channels, energy channels, and the chakras are up along the spine, and it moves from our perineum, which is down at the very base of our bodies there, moving up the channel, up the spine, up to the top of our head, which is where our crown chakra is. So if you can, we'll get into more of that as we go along, but we're going to be breathing up that channel today. So just something to keep in mind. There's a little preliminary. Back to the sexual energy in our root and sacral chakra. This is where we hold a lot of our tension and a lot of fear-based energies. And so as you can imagine, when we've got fear and tension down here in our root chakra and our sacral chakra, how is that going to manifest in our physical experience? You know, again, the energy body, the mental, the emotional body manifests physically. So if we're having, the erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, numbness, not feeling too much sensitivity, anything that, and when I say too much, it's funny, I kind of just caught myself. I'm very supportive of how each one of us shows up sexually and how our sexual energy moves, and our expression for each one of us, that's very individual and unique. And so when I say too much sensitivity and premature ejaculation, I think what I mean is there's a desire to be able to control our sexual energy and last longer, be able to move the energy longer, and enjoy that energy longer, enjoy the physical experience and sensations longer, circulate the energy throughout our body. And when I say too sensitive or premature ejaculation, that tends to come from a lack of control. Again, we're talking about all these different energies and patterns and conditioning and belief systems and that are not in our control. They're unconscious. So when we are having premature ejaculation or numbness or too much sensitivity, that is not something that we're controlling. That is out of our control. So that's what I'm saying, that it's, being sensitive is not an issue, but if it's something that you're not able to control and you're losing control of your energy, then that's when it's something that, you want to look at, right? Just for yourself. I mean, that's, I think, what a general experience is, but not to shun or shame how any of us are showing up in our sexual expression. It's that lack of control and feeling like we don't have control of our bodies, our energies, our experience. That is why we're looking at this, right? Because we want to be in control of our experience, of our energy, of our physical bodies. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about that. So, but the chakras, they are our energy centers. That's where our energy is emerging from and expressing from. So those throughout our lives and throughout our experiences, traumas, emotions, stress, whatever it might be, can get very clogged and blocked and stuck and stagnant. And the so this practice that we're going to learn helps to open up those energies, and that opens up our physical experience as well. When we have more energetic flow and a release of these tensions and this stress in that area, in that energy center, we start to have more control over our sexual experience and our sexual energy and our physical expression of that sexual energy. So bringing that into context here, I just wanted to point that out, that as we are opening these chakras up, it's going to open up our sexual experience in quite a big way. That's really gonna change how we experience our sexual energy, our sensual energy, our physical bodies. So key point right there. So let's look at the root chakra a little bit more before we dive into this practice. I know this video has gotten a little long. There's so much going on here. I mean, there's just, that's okay. The root chakra, again, it's our base, it's our home, it's our foundation. It's where it all stems from. So, this is our sense of safety, our sense of security in our bodies, in the world, in the cosmos, in the universe. Do we feel separate? Are we in lack? Do we fear? Do we need to have really strong boundaries because we're scared of what people are going to do to us? Scared of people taking our power away. I think of the person that is out in the wilderness, holed up with their fences and their guns and their stockpile of food and ammunition. This is a person that, I'm just going to generalize, but it's possible that they have a pretty kind of restricted root chakra, because it's really about safety and defending themselves from the outside world and anything that might upset their experience. They need to have very strong boundaries. They are very well prepared. They're in defense mode all the time because they don't feel safe in the world, and they feel like their world could be upset very easily. So that's one expression of an imbalanced root chakra. I think that's a pretty good descriptor there. So yeah, when we're not feeling safe in the world and really in a lot of lack and a lot of fear and feeling of separation, that's a big key piece of it as well, because that's part of our experience in this 3D world. It is one of separation. As we move into different dimensions, we understand, we know more of our unity and oneness with everything and all beings and all creatures, and we are part of the whole, and we are a very important, integral part of the whole. But this 3D experience is one of separation. That's just what it is. We came here to play this game of separation because when we get a hang of it, it can be a lot of fun being here in our bodies in this 3D world and experiencing and connecting with each other. If we're in separation, that's how we, long for that connection. When we're in unity and that oneness, there's no other to play with. So we're here having this experience to play with the other, and it's fun and an amazing adventure once we move out of this kind of conditioning or this tension and stress, and the restrictions. So When we start to open that up, that's another thing that just starts to become more fun, is being here in the world, because we feel safe, we understand, we're comfortable, we're confident in who we are. We get a lot more courage and confidence to be ourselves in this world, and knowing that all of our needs are met and that we're totally held and taken care of by the universe. So that's the root chakra. I think that's what I'm going to say about that. So I think that gives us a pretty good understanding. But a lot of our fear-based energy that's really, really, really fed by society, a fear of, it's those boundaries and borders of other countries that are going to attack us, or, food scarcity, or resources. We're not going to have enough oil. We're not going to have enough this. We're not going to have enough of that. That's very root chakra, fear-based, me. It's all about me, sense of separation, and I got to take care of me at the expense of you. And if I need to, I'll take you down. That's very root chakra, imbalanced root chakra, so. And I think we all, because this is the society that we grew up in, we understand that, and we all, kind of start there and move our way out of there. So let's move out of that experience and into greater love, into greater self-love, into love for others, and just confident in ourselves and knowing we have nothing to fear and we don't need to be in attack or defense mode. So that's what opening this up for us is really going to do. So not to mention really change our sexual experience. So that being said, I think let's start breathing down. Okay, so our root chakra, it's each of the chakras are a different color, and it goes in a rainbow, which is really convenient. It's easy to remember. So the root is the beginning. It's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, different blue, violet, purple. So really nice for us. Or sometimes it's violet and then white, kind of depending, blue, violet, white. Great, really easy to remember. So we're going to start at the base, our root chakra, red. So we can visualize this. I should have a chart here, but I don't have that. I don't have a printer out here in the wilderness. I'm in Death Valley and didn't bring my printer. So anyway, maybe I'll link to a chart online, or feel free to look it up yourselves too if you're interested. But okay, the base. So red root chakra, we can imagine a little, I see a little mouse or a little chipmunk out there. Very cute. The window's open. I haven't seen a lot of life out here in old Death Valley, because it's Death Valley. Okay, so red ball of glowing light. We can picture that at our base, our root. It's again our perineum, which for men it's like right behind the testicles, but like and in between the anus and the testicles. So in that area right there, we can visualize, sense, see, imagine a little energy center that is red. The color is red, and it's a little, I visualize it like a little ball of light, a little glowing red energy center right there. And just take a moment to visualize. And some people say, I can't visualize. Imagine. You can imagine. It's like when you're making dinner, you're at the store shopping for groceries or what have you, or you're going to make something, you're going to build whatever you're going to build. You're going to paint your vehicle, maybe. You can imagine, visualize what it's going to look like when it's a different color. You can imagine what that project is going to look like at the end, whatever you might be building. You can see it in your mind. So that's what visualizing is, imagine it, sense it, feel it. So that's what we're doing when I say visualize. Imagine, just imagine this red little ball of light down there in the perineum area. And that's our root chakra. That's where this energy center is. That's where all this energy is. So what I would like us to do is to just breathe into that area and move our pelvis around, just breathing into there and feeling into any sensations that might be arising. Feel into that energy. For me personally, when I do this, I can really kind of sense that energy center a little bit more, moving our pelvis around. And breathe into, imagine you're breathing in from that space. Imagine you're breathing into there. And just take a few seconds to breathe deeply into that space. Closing your eyes. Oh, I did mean to say too, like being seated like this is really nice, or you can sit on kind of more the edge of a chair and have your, just to have your back up and erect. If you are going to be sitting cross-legged like this, and sometimes your knees, when we start off, our knees can be way up here, do something like put a pillow underneath to support them, because you don't want that kind of just holding them up like that. It's too much for the body. Do what you need to do to relax and let the knees, you know, settle. And eventually, the more you sit like this, they tend to eventually go down. Not always, not for everybody, but oftentimes any kind of discomfort you might be feeling, just because we're not used to sitting like this for the most part on the ground, you know. And I sit with, you can put a little pillow under your butt. I've got a little pad here that I set just to elevate the tailbone a little bit. Really important and helpful. I see a lot of people, you see people like in meditation pictures and their knees are up here like this, and like it looks just really uncomfortable. So I was taught, do everything to make yourself comfortable. Use pillows if you need to get started. That's totally fine, but you don't want all that tension. We're not trying to add tension. We're trying to relax. So any way you can get yourself comfortable. And if the floor isn't good or sitting on a cushion isn't good, sit on a chair. Sit on a chair on the edge. Just make sure your knees are parallel, perpendicular, not angled down, not angled up. You know, they need to be level. Back straight. This is a great place for breathing. So key elements there. I'm gonna fix that. Okay. Whew. Important piece there. I'm glad we remembered that. There's lots of little pieces. Okay, so get comfortable, settled. You can just simply lay your hands open on your knees like this. You can do this chin, I believe this is called chin mudra, which just, this is an energy circuit between the fingers. And when you close this circuit like this, it just kind of changes the energy. And you can play around with that and see how that feels to you. Don't take my word for any of this. Just play around with it and see. Open. Fingers together. What does that do? Do you feel a difference? Do you notice it? Is it appealing to you? You know, play around with this. This is all a personal journey. So again, back to our root chakra. We're going to breathe in. Moving our pelvis around, feeling that sensation. Close your eyes and really feel into that. Visualize that red little orb there. Breathing into that space. And if all this feels a little strange to you, that's okay. You can just continue to play with this. I know this took me a little while to get used to, and you know, it's really a practice. It's really a practice. So if it's not all just flowing right away, don't poo-poo it, and don't, you know, if this appeals to you, keep playing with it and practicing with it. It's a practice. So yeah, just visualize that red glow there, red golden or red orb there. Breathing into that. Moving your pelvis around, just feeling the energy there. And this helps to open up the tension as well, and really starts to help move the energy. When we put intention and awareness, it really opens things up. Intention and awareness. Where attention goes, energy flows. So this right here is going to help to open up your experience quite a bit. Great way to start. Just getting familiar with the energy, feeling it. breathing in there. It's amazing. All right, I'm gonna have to do that so it doesn't go dark. If it goes dark on us while we're doing this, that's okay. I mean, we're technically to have our eyes closed anyway, so if the screen goes dark. So, okay, eyes closed, breathing. And now we're going to add in some sound. And this is part of the Kriya Yoga. The Kriya Yoga involves mantra and sound, which is frequency. We're going to use Om, which is kind of like the beginning of the universe. It is the sound of the universe. And when we Om into this center, it really, that vibration and the intention, that's what sound healing is. It's vibration with intention. Our minds are beyond powerful. They are amazing when we start harnessing and really focusing our energy and utilizing them as such. Again, bringing in the consciousness, right? So sound and intention equals sound healing. So we're going to be sound healing our root chakra, basically. So we're going to continue our focus, and you can keep moving around if that's comfortable for you. If it's too much, you can just stop, and we're going to, actually, let's just stop. Let's just do that. Now that we've got the energy going, we're going to focus on that root chakra, and let's Om. We're going to Om into our root chakra. Just as we Om, we're going to focus our intention and that vibration and that frequency into that red light, that red energy. You may be noticing sensations, you may be noticing more red, you may be just feeling numbness, you may not be feeling anything at all, and that's totally fine. And your mind may want to be coming in and poo-pooing what you're doing or giving you more information, and that's fine. You just notice it and say, that's okay, mind, I'm doing this right now. And now we're going to visualize, again, in our spinal column, a little tube. This is our channel of energy, that Sushumna Nadi that I was speaking of earlier. This is an energy channel going from the base, our perineum, up through our tailbone, up through our spinal column, our central channel, up to the top of our head. And we can visualize a yellow, a golden tube of light just moving up to the top of our head. And again, if you're having a trouble visualizing, that's okay. We're brand new at this. Our society likes to think we're just going to have this all figured out right away. Again, it's a practice. So this is just something to practice and play with. So just imagine it there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to visualize and sense and feel that red golden energy, and we're going to breathe it up. Breathe it up. Visualize, see, sense, feel it moving up through that golden channel, that golden tube, up to the top of our crown. And then we're going to visualize, sense, feel, imagine it on our exhale, moving back down through the channel. So as we inhale, the little red energy is moving up, our root chakra energy moving up through our spine to the top of our head. And then on the exhale, that red is going to move back down. And if it's easier for you to visualize white or yellow energy moving up through that channel, that's fine too. I like white a lot. But we're just opening up our root chakra, opening up the energy there, and then breathing it up to create more of a flow and an opening in our central channel. And this helps to activate all of our energy channels, all of our energy centers, and create a flow. A lot of this is about, the imbalance and the stuck and the stagnation and the clogging that's happened in our energy body. This helps to open a flow and start really opening our whole energy body up, really. So let's continue that breathing up and down. And if you can visualize with the red or white, golden, I keep saying golden globe, golden little orb, moving up and down, and visualize. And you're welcome to say Om, do the Oming. You can either do that out loud or internally, Om, as you're moving up and down the channel. So it would be like, okay, breathing in, Om, 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 actually you're going to want to do that internally because you're going to be breathing. So until we get to a more advanced stage, let's do that oming internally if you want to add that in with your light moving up and down. So we're going to practice this breath for 10 minutes and see what happens here. I've got my handy dandy little timer. Really works nicely. You know what, actually, let's do this for 10 minutes. We're gonna do it for 10 minutes here and breathe. So let's do it. Continue that breathing, continue the visualization, and just really feel that energy moving up and down that central channel there, breathing it up and down. And just breathe at a natural pace. See how you'll settle into it. You'll settle into what feels right, breathing up. And breathing back down. Let's see what happens. Timer's on. was our 10 minutes. You can just bring your awareness back into the room. Kind of wiggle it out a little bit. See how that was for you. I noticed for myself, my foot's going a little numb there, sitting. I'm not usually sitting on this little couch area here, so, and that is very common. So if you find your legs or your ankles or feet going numb in the beginning, that can easily happen, but it tends to even itself out over time. For my partner, it did not. After, even years of sitting, it just wasn't working itself out, and it was causing pain in other parts of his body and his back and such. So we ended up getting, it's called a meditation bench. So that's something, another word, you're on the floor, but you're elevated, but there's no compression on your legs, and you're not sitting on your legs at all. So that's another option as you play with this and play what works for you, what works best for you. I noticed myself when I was breathing my oming, it wasn't just one om up and down, but I tend to om as I'm moving up the channel and back down. So, this is part of why it's called a practice, and it's a very personal journey. So, stick with the technique, but also see, what works for you. Kind of, once you get the technique down, then you can start playing with it a little bit more and see how to, maybe change the oming a little bit to support you more. But I'm curious how that was for you, and if you have any questions, feel free to enter them down below in the comments, and I will certainly answer, because a lot of things can come up, a lot of things, and there's a resistance that can come up, and I'm not doing this right, or oh, this doesn't feel right, oh, this isn't working, oh, my mind's over here. That's all gonna show up and arise as we start moving into this. That's why we kind of start running into our actual real lived experience, which our minds are like constantly going. We're in a lot of resistance. So that's just a very natural thing to come into, to start witnessing. We start to see the truth of our experience when we're at a baseline, when we quiet ourselves down, when we try to take control of our breathing, try to take control of our mind, we realize how out of control it is. So it's, like I said, those grooves, that train is running. Just trying to get it to go a different way. It takes some effort in the beginning, and it's going to, like some determination, some willpower to just sit through and keep doing the practice. Keep bringing your attention back to the breath. Wherever your mind goes, or whatever it wants to tell you, just go, okay, yes, I see you. Just witness it. We don't judge it. We don't shame it. We don't poo-poo it. We're just like, yep, I see you, and I'm going to do this right now. Thanks for your input, and I'm doing this right now. So just keep bringing your awareness back to your breathing, back to the technique, back to the central channel, back to the light moving up and down. And for me, I noticed I definitely use a white light. I was also aware when I was breathing there, it's really important, we were breathing into our root chakra in the beginning and kind of opening it up and awakening it, but there goes my dark screen. Really important to be opening this central channel. So those energies, when we are starting to activate the energy centers more, the energy has somewhere to flow and to move, and doesn't just kind of like blow out, and because if we just have too much energy at our, root chakra without helping to clear that channel for it somewhere to move and go to, it's going to, it can cause, even more stress or tension, or a desire to release it in some way, like too much energy. And so just really important to open that channel up, really focus on that as we're activating our energy centers, because we're going to keep moving through, and we're going to focus on the root and the sacral right now. And given that this is about sexual energy that we're opening to, but in my in the program, in the 12-week program, I continue to reference, we do an energy restoration healing session for each chakra, starting at the bottom and moving our way up, and really powerfully clearing that out. So that's a really important piece of that program, because again, what I found is bypassing the mind and working with the energy body is the most powerful, fastest, beneficial way to, because we are energy. So at that's where we want to be, putting our effort into, and really clearing out that energy to change our experience, getting into the mind and into the story of why we are like we are, what happened when we were 5. Like, it doesn't really actually get us anywhere. I mean, it can be beneficial to have some sort of understanding of some of the dynamics of those experiences and such, but it's not actually changing anything. It's a mental understanding. We have to get into the energy body. This is my experience, and the experience I've seen profound changes for clients and a lot of other people on the spiritual path. It's getting into the energy body, which is when we start to have those really profound results. And this is why people do breath work, and this is why people do mantra and yoga. That's really working with our energy body and our channels. So the energy healing sessions, and I will say that those sessions are available to you anytime you want to do them. It's not just part of my program. So on my website, you can see energy restoration sessions. That really helps we'll start at the bottom, like I said, and work our way up. And we're going to really open those chakras up for you and drastically change your experience and clear out the fear, clear out the conditioning, clear out the limitations, all this stuck, stagnant, blocked energy. We're going to open that up, and we're going to get rid of that. Again, bypassing the mind, bypassing story. We don't need to get into all the talk therapy. We're going to go right to the heart of the matter, and right to the, where we can get really fast results, like right now. And I've seen really powerful things for people in their, body, mind, and spirit, but body, like physical body, disease reversed. Eyesight improved by 50%. Back surgery no longer needed, just by working with the energy, because the physical experience is our energy. So really a lot of clearing up of physical issues. And then relationship improvements. Oh my gosh, once we clear out those unhealthy relationship patterns that are stuck in our energy body, and those emotions that are triggering the unhealthy patterns, it frees us up to have a very different experience of our relationships and our sexuality with our partners, or our other people, other family members, colleagues, work people, anyone we're in relationship with. Really changes our experience of our creativity. And if we're feeling stuck, blocked, stagnant, like a desire to do something, maybe very lethargic, maybe like there's a desire to, but we just can't really get up off the couch, we can't really get into it, we're just like, this opens all of that up as well. Spirit, connecting us more to our divine essence, and that self-love, the love really opens up to a whole different experience of that. So many benefits. But I know we're over an hour right now, so I'm gonna shut this down. I think I can just really, there's so much to be said about this. And again, when you're ready to really dive into it, let's look at that program and look at some energy sessions. We can really start to open this up and change the experience, and take control of our experience, take control of our reality and our life and our bodies and our energy bodies and our patterns, our relationships, really change all of that. So I feel like I'm just let's see. Okay, let's back to the practice real quick. Like, to get the best results, this is a practice to be done every day. Start your day off. The routine, again, like I said earlier, these grooves have been created for a very long time, and it's going to take concerted effort and dedication, discipline, determination to get off that track and go a different way, to create new grooves, in our mind, those neuro pathways in the brain and in the energy body, just really like. So find a time that works for you every day to commit to this 10-minute practice. You can skip all of the whatever of this video and just go right to it. And after going through it with me a few times, you'll know what it is. This is not really a very difficult practice here. So, you know, the visualization, the mantra, 10 minutes a day. In the morning is great. On your cushion, 10 minutes. Commit to it. Commit to it for 3 months, you know, and see what happens. If you don't notice any difference whatsoever, you gave it a shot, you know. That's why I tell people with gluten or, you know, some sort of dietary thing that might be causing issues, cut it out for a month, see if any change. If nothing, then you know it's not that, and you can go right back to it. It's not going anywhere. Our patterns aren't going anywhere. So, you know, we can have this experience anytime we want. So, and yeah, and it's assured. So, but if you want a different experience, commit to this practice for 10 minutes a day and for that period of time, and just see what happens. Just give it. It's a science experiment, you know. See. I think that's it. Again, any comments, questions, put them below, and I will or reach out to me. And check out my website to schedule anything you're ready to move forward with, and let's open this up for you. And I have spiritual guidance sessions or consultations, you know, it's all there. It's all there. I always feel like there's more to say. I don't know if I'm forgetting anything, but I think, again, we've been going for a while here, so I'm going to leave it at that. And if there's more, I'll just create another video and do a part 2 of this. So, yeah. Thank you for being here. Thank everybody for being here. Thank all of our guides and spirit guides and helpers and universe, Mother Earth, Father, Son. Thank you everybody for supporting us so beautifully. And thank you, beautiful bodies. Thank you for your connection. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to more connection with you. Sending you so much love on your journey. Always. Bye all.